During last session, we have discussed installation of MongoDB. In this session, we'll be discussing a brief introduction to MongoDB. So before we discuss what is MongoDB, let us know when it has come. See, this MongoDB has come into the world is around like mid 2000s, like 2004, 5. In that duration, it has come into the market, right? Now, what kind of database it is? It is NoSQL database, right? Now, this NoSQL database of which type? It is document-oriented database, right? So what is document-oriented database? Say in SQL database, we store the data in the form of rows and columns. But in the case of MongoDB, we store data in the form of documents, right? So in SQL database, row or tuple is a data, right? Here, the same thing, the data is represented in the form of document, right? So now this MongoDB represents the data in JSON-like format. Now, what is this JSON? JSON is a structure to represent the data, right? JavaScript object notation. So this MongoDB uses JSON-like format. It will not use as it is JSON. So it will use JSON-like format, which is called binary. Okay, binary JSON, right? BSON format. So now how data is getting stored in MongoDB? In the form of BSON format, right? BSON, binary JSON is called as BSON, right? Okay. Now in SQL database, what we will have? Tables and rows, right? So tables and rows means collection of rows are called as a table, right? Now what about MongoDB database? So in MongoDB database, data gets stored in the form of collections. Now what is collection again? Collection is a set of documents, right? So two or more documents combine to form a collection, and two or more collections combine to form a database, right? So in SQL database, we call table. In MongoDB database, we call collection, right? Now let us see document. Now what is this document? So in the SQL database, we call tuple or row. In MongoDB database, we call document. Now let us see what is this document contains. Now what is this document consist of? So each document consists of key value pairs. Let us see now what is this document in detail in the next slides. Okay, here. Now I'm just creating a database. So I'll just demonstrate by taking right. This is what my command prompt. Now you can see. Now what I'm doing now, I'm just typing Mongo. I'm just calling my client. Okay, MongoDB client. So MongoDB client is Mongo. I'm clicking enter. So once I click enter, what happens? Mongo shell gets opened, right? This is what Mongo shell. So what I want to do now, I want to demonstrate the commands here. Which commands? These are the commands I want to demonstrate. Okay, so I would like to tell you what is collection, what is document and all in detail. Okay, right, for that I'm demonstrating this one. Okay, so I just want to clear the screen. Okay, CLS. Okay, now I'm just clearing everything. Now what I'm going to do now, I want to know in which database I am in. For that the command is db. So I'm right now I'm in test command, sorry, test database. Okay, right. If I want to use, okay, which database? I want to create a database. Use BDA lab. Use BDA lab. Okay. Now, so if BDA lab is already existed, will just get into a BDA lab database. If it is not there, it will get created and we'll just get into it. Okay. Right. Now, what I'm going to do now, I want to check whether I'm in BDA lab or not. DB. Yes, I'm in BDA lab. Okay, right. So what I'm going to do now, I want to create a student collection, right? I want to create a student collection. DB dot create collection. Okay, right. So I'm just giving the name. You should put the name of the collection in double quotes. I'm giving a name, students. Right. Now I'm just clicking enter. Yes. Okay, student collection has been created. Okay, right. Now next, what I'm going to do now, I want to insert the document here. I want to insert the document into students collection. Right. So for that, what is the command? db dot collection name students. Okay, dot insert. Okay, right. Next, in that I'm just writing a document. So your document must be in a curly braces, right? So what is the first one? Underscore ID, underscore ID colon 1. This is a first key value pair. Okay, underscore ID colon 1 is key value pair. Okay, this is a key, underscore ID is a key and 1 is a value, right? So each document consists of what? Multiple key value pairs. So next key value pair is that name, name colon ram. Okay, right. Next one, roll number. Okay, 1201. Okay, right. So this is what the document here. Now this total curly brace contains what? How many key value pairs? 3 key value pairs. Underscore ID colon 1 is 1 key value pair. Name colon ram is one other key value pair. Roll number colon 1204 is another key value pair. Total 3 key value pairs are there. So now what we are going to do now? I am just clicking enter. Right? So once I click enter, now what happens? Document get inserted into your collection. So I want to look into the collection whether the document has inserted into or not. So for that, what is the command now? db dot collection name. What is the collection name? db dot students dot, okay, db dot students dot find. Find is a method, right? So I'm just clicking enter. Now this is what my document which has been entered, right? So now I want to insert one more document. So if I want to insert one more document, again the same command, db dot students dot insert. So now here it is not mandatory to have a same key value pairs in each and every document. You cannot, right? It is up to you. You can or you cannot have the same, right? So I'm just removing underscore ID. Okay, right. Now I'm just having another document in which I'm just removing underscore ID, right? So I'm just clicking enter. Yes, inserted. Now I want to check the students collection. I want to check the student collection. db dot students dot find. Okay, click enter. Now what happened? Yes, it has been inserted without any error, right? But the thing is that you need to identify. See here, if I have underscore ID means then underscore ID will come. If you don't specify underscore ID, see in the for the second document I didn't specify the underscore ID, right? If you don't specify, what happens? MongoDB itself will create a object ID for underscore ID. Okay, right? It will create underscore ID, and for that particular ID, for that particular key, it will create a value which is object ID, right? Automatically it will create. If you provide explicitly, it will not create. If you don't provide explicitly, then it will create by itself. Okay, what is that? Underscore ID. Okay, right. Now, is that mandatory to have same key value pairs in every document? No, it is not mandatory. So that's why MongoDB has got a dynamic schema. Okay, MongoDB has got dynamic schema, right? So this is what the demonstration. So what is the demonstration so far we have seen? We have seen how to create a database, yes, by using use command. Next, how to create a collection, we have seen, yes. Next, we have seen how to insert a document. Next, we have seen how to insert another document by removing earlier key value pairs. Okay, right. Now, what I'm going to do now, next, see here, I'll just tell you one more important point. db.students.find method dot pretty. Now, what is this pretty method? This pretty method will represent your data in the form of JSON. Okay, so it's JSON-like format. It is not JSON. It's a JSON-like format. Okay, it's a readable content. So if you have a representation in a linear format, it's obviously it is very difficult to understand. So what we are going to do now means, by using a pretty method, I want to represent the data in a JSON-like format, which is very easy to understand and which is a readable format, right? So I'm just clicking enter. Now you can see here. Now for the first document, which is very small and you can easily understand and it is easily to represent in a linear fashion. But for the second document, which is a large enough, we cannot represent in a linear fashion. So that's why what we have done, have represented in a JSON-like format. Now here this format will make a users or a database designers to understand clearly, right? Now what is this key, what is the value, now what is the fields, how many fields are there, like that they can easily understand. Okay, so this is what JSON. Okay, this representation is called as JSON. Now you see here, so document is represented in a JSON-like format, which is BSON. BSON means binary JSON, right? Now you can see here. Now what we have done so far, we have created a BDA lab. Okay, that's a database name. In that BDA lab, I have created a students collection, okay, which is equivalent to table in SQL, right? Obviously, right? In that students collection, what I have done, I have created a document, right? So this document is equivalent to what? Row or tuple in SQL. Now output, document output, how it will be represented? It will be represented in the form of a structure called JSON structure, okay, JSON format. So it is JSON-like format. It is not actually JSON. Okay. So actually, how it gets stored? It gets stored in the form of BSON, binary JSON. Now, what is the difference between JSON and BSON? Okay, JSON has got a fixed number of data types supported, right? But BSON, whereas it supports beyond the data types of JSON. Okay. I've already created a VDA lab. I have already checked what is in which database I'm in, and I have already checked show DBS. I'll check show DBS. Show DBS. So show DBS means VDA lab is there, right? This is what I have created. Okay, right. So in which okay, in which database I'm in? I'm in VDA lab. So I want to see the collection, show collections. In that VDA lab database, how many collections are there? I want to look at only one collection, students. Okay. Now I want to see what show db dot stats. So db.stats means it will give a statistical information about VDA lab database. Now, how many collections are there? Only one collection. What is that one collection? Students collection. Have I created any views? No. Right? Objects, two objects. Okay? Right. Now, object size, data size, storage size, indexes. So these are all total information you'll get. Okay? Right. So this is what the db.stats. Stats gives the information, statistical information about the database in which we are working in. Okay. Next, db.help. If I want to know the command supported by the MongoDB, then db.help. So these are all commands supported by the MongoDB. Okay. Right.